So if I like, let's say the sex chakra, or I want to seduce them, then I can I can talk just a little slower and talk about what I want.
I just want to say that whatever it is that you heard at the beginning of the video doesn't mean that we will be talking about stuff that are not safe for work. Hi, my name is Arvi, and in this new YouTube series, we're going to talk about what it means to become a voice talent. Specifically for this episode, we are going to talk to Mariano, who is a new voice talent, but she is also a yoga teacher. And how she combines being a voice talent with being a yoga teacher, especially when she starts using words like chakras, which really a lot of you probably heard for the first time when you watched that cartoon, The Last Airbender or The Avatar or something like that. Well, she talks about how to use your chakras when you try to project a certain personality or a certain mood. And I can guarantee you that this one is going to be one interesting and wild discussion. Okay, so this
Hmm.
is unscripted. We're just going to play with her voice.
Yeah.
And yeah, so maybe we should tell them a little bit. You took a course on, is it voice acting?
Oh, yes. That's really new for me to take on. And it just talked about different ranges and pitches and how to take care of your voice. But I really noticed I'm not really, really great at it yet, of course. And that's why I come talk to you.
Oh, but when you come
Ah,
to think of it, though, you make a living out of using your voice. Like when you do yoga stuff as a teacher, they probably listen to your voice a lot, especially when you give instructions.
yes, that's true. Like I do talk with my voice as my instrument. And because we do like couple of chanting or song sing with movements, it becomes such the inner instrument within.
Hmm.
And also different levels of chakras. That's one thing we learned. Characteristics of the chakra communication, which was really interesting. So let's say the seventh chakra, which is the lowest, which is like the first chakra, it's a base, right? It's a lot of tribal, and then also that's where a lot of the fear and the dirt and the anger kind of lies. Then I can meet them where they're at and then raise that frequency a little higher. So maybe bring it to the second chakra, which is more about sensations and getting to know, relatedness with the desire of that person. So like how I talk, like let's say first chakra could be a little bit more grounded and then a little higher coming from the first chakra or higher from the fourth chakra, which is the heart, and how it lands. So it's not just all the tone of my voice, but how I'm also saying it and how I'm listening.
I probably don't completely understand what you're saying, but but I've
I'm
been
kind
working.
of hippied out at the moment. And no, I don't know. That's not the word right now. Nobody
No,
says hippie anymore, but was really blissing out yesterday
that's cool.
having this. Yeah.
And it almost feels weird that what we wanted to do this morning was, to practice different character voices, which is, I'm wondering now, like, does it have anything to do with the chakras as well? When voice talents try to play with their voices and
I'm sure. Yeah. There's a certain chakra for a certain thing. So if I like let's say the sex chakra, or I want to seduce them, then I can I can talk just a little slower, and there's lots of music on this, and talk about what I want, and that's the second chakra, because it's related to what I want and desire. Yeah, like if I talk in a slower way, not that I'm trying to seduce you, but
yeah, why don't
yeah, that's something. Like you ever have like a telephone voice? There's you, and then there's a telephone voice. Hi.
Okay, yeah.
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 Yeah. that's your that's your second chakra.
Hmm. Well, I'm actually thinking that will work well if you're trying to promote chocolate.
Or spa.
Hmm. Let's make something up right now. Like savor the rich chocolatey taste of Selecta ice cream. Something like that.
Ooh, yeah.
Or and now you
Yeah.
do a spa.
Yeah, like a spa, like come and relax into, you know, this resort. Oh, like so bad.
Oh, that's interesting. Like, we're just making up the script anyway as we go along.
Yeah. So like well, I don't have anything right now, but that's 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 what I was thinking. Like a spa moment. So another one is if a person's coming from their heart chakra,
They're
it's
loving, I
kind of like,
suppose.
yeah. So there's this opening. It's like, I love you no matter what. Right. So it's a platonic kind of love. It sounds kind of platonic.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's wholesome, none of the
It's a
seductive
wholesome
tone.
love. Yeah. But it's also a very welcoming, inclusive love.
And what product might we be selling if we were using the heart chakra?
I think like maybe mommy products like Johnson's and Johnson's. This is why I love my baby. So I'm using Johnson's and Johnson's baby cologne to make them smell good.
Oh, okay. So something like when you want to give your baby only the best, trust Johnson and Johnson.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, um, you know, I choose the best for my kids. So I choose Johnson and Johnson's or I choose Kicks cereal. They deserve the best. Like that.
Is that a real thing? Like kick cereal?
Kick cereal?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're known. Well, it's really good. I like it. But
Okay.
their marketing is also really good. Moms choose it, kids love it. This kind of thing.
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I've never heard a discussion about voice recording with the chakra concept mixed into it.
Yeah, it's one of a kind for sure. And then if you also try to have a conversation with someone, and if you feel like they're coming from a certain chakra, it's also come like to meet them at that chakra and maybe raise it up a little bit higher. Will leave them in a better state, maybe, or see a different perspective rather than just keeping them in that same spot. Although unless they want to stay in that spot. But I truly believe like in songs, you know, they definitely play with the chakras, you know. I i really believe like I hear babies cry and wonderful world, that's kind of coming from like the eighth chakra right there.
Oh,
So
yeah.
yeah, like a
Oh,
little higher, you know, where you get awareness of the world. And then there's another one, um yeah.
well, too bad I can't sing, but I remember the song that you're talking about. You know, there's this guy with a hoarse voice. I see trees of green.
Yeah,
Sintonado.
yeah, exactly. Right there, yeah. And then you can also mix. So it's not just one chakra. They can come from the sixth chakra, speaking from the fifth chakra, which is your throat chakra. So it brings another creative vibe to it. Okay. Like for instance, the expressive kind that's kind of smart, right? That wants to come out, Bengay.
Hmm.
If you're in pain, you can use Bengay. I use it on my joints and like in seconds it's gone. So that is expressive on my experience. And then there's an intelligent like way to go about it. And that's coming from your second chakra of desiring no more pain, and then the seventh chakra, which is a little higher.
So that was a combination of three things there. Therefore, the crown, the throat, and the second.
Yeah. So there's, you could play with that. And I think that a lot of people do it even if they don't know it.
I've never heard of a TV commercial of Bengay because, well, I don't have TV, so I've never.
Yeah. Like I now realize I'm not as bombarded with commercials. And it's due to my ability to have shows available to me without having the commercial part. I get the radio. Do you get
Yeah,
radio
yeah,
commercials?
yeah. Especially when I'm driving, like I don't listen to anything other than the radio.
But the commercials that I have in my head isn't really like I have like boom papaya. Papaya. Yeah, 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 yeah.
uh, and that's the singing voice. Like I can't
Putika
sing. Yeah.
in 7 days. I'm like, what? I was like, oh no. Yeah, that's the one I know.
Is that something you want to get into? Like a recording a
The
song for a
jingles.
commercial.
Oh, more about the ones I remember are more food related commercials
Like what?
that like wholesome foods, whole foods, healthy option commercials are very easy for me to remember. And they're very rare. They don't really have so much of them coming out. But when they do, they're so tactful. How did it go? It was a very straightforward voiceover announcement, like healthy options, like real people, like real food, something like that.
Mm,
Are we making up commercials? I just want
yeah,
to
we
know
can.
because I think I just kind of did, and I kind of like it.
Well,
Yeah,
when I listen to your voice, Tree, like I can imagine you doing a commercial for products in the US, like given your accent. Um, I am sure that if you recorded something, no one would ever suspect that you were living in the Philippines.
yeah. Residing in the Philippines is really something else. But I also noticed that when I'm talking to people, like trying to do the voiceover, a lot of them know that I'm like Filipino already. So it's a good twist also. There's like a Filipino twang that I have to jump towards. So let's say I say, you take care of your body, you just have one body. If I say it in Tagalog, so this one's like my Filipino English, like you take care of your body, you have just one body. Yeah, like it's different, you know?
Wow. Yeah, and I do hear like my accent is confused. So when I auditioned for Voice Bunny, I tried my best to speak with a neutral accent. And for some reason, like they want to get me to speak Filipino or they want to get me to speak English with a very Filipino accent. And
Yeah.
well,
I think I'm gonna get that kind of script. I don't want to put that too much in my future. Of course, I don't want to put myself in a box or project anything like that. But I feel that here. They're gonna be like, could you sound a little bit more this way? Which is fine. But I think that in American settings, I'll be more Filipino based. And then here it sounds like a little bit more American based. I'm also a little confused with my international accent, wherever that is. But I could say in a commercial, every word you speak, which is made of the palate of the tongue. You know? What do you think?
yeah. I mean, I would think that outside of the US, people would want announcers to enunciate what they're saying. It's just that in American English, there's such a thing as liaisons, where where they connect every word. So, for example, that that thing that they teach in American accent training, like "Did you eat?" It can be reduced to something like "Jeet."
So if I say, RV, have you eaten? Is that like a stop in comparison to how they want it to be a little bit more fast? Is that, or one word? Have you eaten? Like that?
Yeah, yeah. Um, I'm surprised if you're recording something for the Philippines and you talk very quickly, people will tell you to slow down because they um so there's this thing that I recorded like decades ago. No part of this program may be reproduced without prior written consent of the producer. And then they go, written? What is written? And then like I was so shocked because she said, Can you please say written?" And I go, like I really told her, there's such a thing as a schwa, or there's such a thing as a reduced vowel, and you can't say written. And she wouldn't believe me because she was, the PA. And that was so frustrating
That
for me.
is interesting. Yeah, no, like I don't know what kind of courses I can do or what kind of experience I can take on to have me be more exposed on how to say things in a lighter way, because I also want to take on different levels of this voice that we have, which is the throat chakra. And it's not just expressing what I want or what needs to be expressed. That's how levels of communication, right? Consciously. But the way they want it to land, right? And make it my own version. That is something that I'm like, okay, what can I play with? So I'm looking at different levels of that. And if I, let's say, if I talk to you and I'm like, oh, RV, all dramatic, RV, I can't send this email, and what am I going to do? Um, and how that lands for the audience or for you. Does it distress you? Does it overwhelm you? Or does it feel like I want I want to save her, you know? There's all of that that can land for that person. And I want to be responsible with that, with what kind of projects I take on and how I communicate with people.
Yeah, but I'm seeing that you will have your own. Um, how do you pronounce it? Is it niche or niche?
Yeah, it's a niche. But I wonder, like, you speak with so many people, you coach, you are doing so much work. You have podcasts and things like that. How conscious are the levels of communication? Do you fluctuate? I mean, do you find people are more conscious? Do you find people listen?
Hmm. I've never thought about that. Yeah. Especially now that this is the first time that I'm hearing, you or anyone for that matter, talk about using the voice and consciously bringing the awareness of the chakra into how they talk. And this is completely new for me. Like I've never really heard anyone talk about this.
Good. I love it. I love it. Love. I love being something that brings newness to something that is already there, just sleeping and may not be known or acknowledged. Now you got it. So you can play with it or not.
There could be a lot of health products, wellness products that you could provide your voice to, lend your voice to rather, because I don't think that you would want to record something like a commercial for alcohol or cigarettes or Oh, but what's that smile about? Like, what's on
No,
your
no. I mean,
mind?
that's the great thing about this voiceover work, right? Like I I can if I choose to,
Okay, okay.
right? It's just that what resonates with me, what's integrity for me in terms of what work I want to balance and what I want to promote. But I love that I could take it on and just do it without having like, okay, I'm done. That's it. That was a project. I like that. That's like the acting part that I appreciate about actors is that they can pretend
Yeah,
to be something and it like has nothing to do with their personality or it's totally different. And I love doing things that are different. I love exploring, especially the levels of where I can take myself to. But it's also like I want to be responsible with what I put out and what I share ultimately, you know. And if it's like alcohol, for instance, and they're adults who can manage their own, then I wouldn't mind. But if it's like,
kids.
selling to kids, and I was like, I don't think I would be so into that. But yeah,
Yeah,
I like depends on the values and principles.
yeah, yeah. I mean, now that you're saying that, I remember Meryl Streep because she plays a lot of characters. And one of the characters that she said she had some difficulty playing was Miranda Priestley from The Devil Wears Prada.
Hmm.
I mean,
Really?
she could
She
get into
did
the
it so
character.
well.
Yeah, yeah, she did. And but afterwards, she said that is a sad character. She has such a sad life, and I guess that's how it is when you really get into the character. You feel it so much, but then she probably has the ability to let go of it once the role is over.
Yeah. Yeah, I can get that. It takes something because you like I'm not an actor. I I don't see myself as an actor, but I can see that you there's a built-in relationship. I do that often with my clients. Like they give me their issues and then we also form a program for them and see if it fits and they'll get the results, you know? And that relationship has me get into their world. Like,
Mm,
are they sitting a lot? Are they standing a lot? How tall are they? How old are they? What are their activities? What are they eating? Who are they around? You know, because all of this ultimately plays a big role on their well-being also. So if they're the breadwinner and they don't have time for anything else except to work and it's taking a toll on their body, or are they like a stay-at-home person and all they have to do is work out and relax all day and make sure food's in the you know just food is ready but they don't have to prepare for it, they can just join and they just have to look good all the time, kind of that you know that person. So I have to also get into
mm,
their world. And when when the project is done, when their program is done, I also have to experience. I've had where it's really tough. I've also worked out for clients. I work out the program before I give it to them, which is I think a really good way for instructors or teachers to play a role on how to develop growing with their clients or their students. I get myself involved in their world without them having to know this. And this is why I get paid the way I get paid because I get the results. So like sometimes I have to feel their pain and then I have to just detach from it. For me, like when I'm giving a class to a personal level and I see what they need, let's say they have scoliosis, then I see, okay, maybe their organs are shifted a certain way, they're lopsided. So what are the muscles that need to be worked? And I feel better when I embody it. So when they feel it, I can say, okay, you might feel this during that area. Or you might want to put more pads lying down on your stomach because the bones on your hips might feel more sensitive on the floor. They're not used to that. So there's different levels of how I want to take it with my clients. And I think that relationship that, like Meryl Streep was talking about, I've had some difficult clients where I'm like, wow, their lifestyle, I'm glad I'm in the wellness lifestyle where and this is not my life, um but that's just me. Like, I'm just happy doing the work I do, but there's times where I'm like, wow, that's a, like, I get that Meryl Streep moment where that is a tough body, or that is a tough lifestyle, that is tough mentality, that is a rough emotional baggage. you know
Hmm. Oh, well, it sounds like you can really get into, like you can really put yourself in their shoes. Like you can imagine what their life is like, what their difficulties are like, what their bodies might feel. And yeah, there's probably a little bit of empathy there. Like you can really get into their world.
well, that is my love language, but it's more about, at the end of the day, knowing that I'm I can give like at least a moment where they have sense of relief or hope that things can change and shift, you know, the whether it's just a physical level or all of that nervous system issue.
So, Chi, this was a very interesting conversation. Originally I thought that we were just gonna talk about the human voice, but we ended up talking how to relate something non-physical, which is like a chakra, into the discussion. And so this
Oh my
brings an
gosh.
entirely new spin into it. So thank you. Thank you for spending this time with
Yeah,
me.
no, thank you, RV, for your energy, your thoughtfulness and your heart into this. This is also really new for me, and I didn't think that this was gonna be the main the main meal, but I guess what it is what it is. So I'm glad.
Yeah,
Thank
thank
you,
you.
RV. Enjoy your time. Have a great day.
Have a great day. Bye, Chi.
See ya.